Hi everyone, I'm Morgan Morris, VP of Marketing at CO2Meter, and I'm excited to share another gas safety partner interview with one of our most valued partners, CK Supply. This interview is a special one as we were able to sit down with special guest Kevin Kimker, VP of Gas Operations at CK, to see what gas safety means to their business and shine light on our partnership. For those that do not know, CK Supply is Missouri's largest independent gas and welding supplier, proudly family-owned since 1948. With decades of industry experience, CK Supply has built a reputation not just for reliable gas delivery, but for being a true champion of workplace safety and compliance. When it comes to protecting people and facilities, they lead by example. First off, thank you so much again, Kevin, just for your time today on a Friday, taking some time out to talk with me on gas safety and a little bit about the dry ice industry too. So
thanks for asking.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get started, just to shine light, obviously we're going to be working on an ebook that is all around dry ice and gas safety. Obviously, CK has had a tremendous amount of presence in this space. You guys are one of the largest independent suppliers and also a fierce advocate when it comes to gas safety. So who better than to choose CK to give us a little bit of background? But I would love to know, Kevin, just with your industry expertise, you've been in the industry for quite a while, if you could just give some insight to your role and then just a little bit of an overview on CK Supply and who they are.
So CK is still a privately owned company. We're family owned by the Dunn family, and as employees, we were given a wonderful gift a few years ago. They gave 49% of the company to the employees through an ESOP. So we are now all employee owners as well. So we are family owned and employee owned, which I think is a great combination of getting people to care about the business and make things better. So we appreciate having those opportunities from CK as a company. I've been with the company 34 years. Started as a truck driver and worked at a branch store, and over the years installed bulk tanks and ran the fill plant and have evolved into the position I have now, which I truly enjoy because it's something different every day. And we started making dry ice about 11 years ago, so 77 years in the gas and welding business, only 11 in the dry ice. But dry ice and liquid CO2 is now about 25% of our business. So it has grown very quickly, so much to the point that we bought our own liquid CO2 plant. So we also manufacture about 200 tons a day of liquid CO2 to supply our bev carb industry, our welding gases, and the dry ice part of the business.
Wow. I know I see you guys also just expanding through and through. Obviously, the dry ice market is one that is increasing, it seems, year over year. So I think that is amazing. Also, just the family centricity of your business as well. I know you guys are also really involved with GATA, just have a great reputation. So I'm really honored to get to talk to you a little bit on the dry ice industry as a whole. But as you mentioned too, just with dry ice, obviously it is so important, but there are specific hazards at hand. So I'd love to get into the gas safety part just a little bit and talk about dry ice application. So when it comes to gas safety, I am interested, what does that mean to CK Supply? Just because you're working with this product day in and day out, what does gas safety look like for you?
The obvious thing with CO2 is when it's in the air, its presence is known. With argon, nitrogen, oxygen, you can get an enriched atmosphere, and you may not know that. So we're always concerned about that. Making dry ice, that conversion rate of 2.5 pounds of liquid to get 1 pound of dry ice, there's a lot of evaporation or sublimation. So there is always a lot of CO2 present in the atmosphere, in the air. And when we built our first truly dedicated dry ice building, we thought fans were a great idea and we just pushed the CO2 out. What we learned pretty quickly is all you're doing is stirring it up. So we bought our first monitor. We're on series or edition 3 of trying to find the right monitor because it's where you put it, how you put it. If you put it right next to a dry ice machine and you turn that machine on, the cool down period alone will produce enough gaseous CO2 in the room
Sure.
to set off your monitor. And it's going to go off every time. So we've had to learn how to exhaust the room, exhaust the product, and then place our monitors strategically so that they're not constantly going off, giving you a high reading when they're just going through their startup. So we've changed a lot of things. And the biggest thing is we actually put in an exhaust system to extract the CO2 at the point the dry ice is converted from liquid to a solid. Used to be it just all came into the room and we tried to stir it up or get rid of it or push it out. Well, now we're actually extracting it, and our next step is we're actually going to start capturing it and reliquefying it. So we have some equipment coming in for that. But the problem is the employees that work in that atmosphere get so accustomed to having that dryness in their mouths and that bite in their nose because the CO2 is always present. We knew those of us who worked in another building, another department would go in and say, guys, you got to be over the limit here. Oh yeah, we silenced it. We turned it off. And we knew that we could not allow that to continue to happen. We had to take care of our employees. So as time has gone on, we've got better equipment, and to be honest, through our partnership with you and Josh Pringle, not only we're adding newer, better, more sophisticated equipment, we also have added it to our liquid CO2 plants, where we're not only monitoring CO2, but we're also monitoring the anhydrous ammonia, because we have almost 9,000 pounds of that, and if you have a leak of that, you want to know very quickly. So we seems like in the past we bought the cheapest, easiest model of CO2 monitoring, and we've learned that is not the right way to go. So we have definitely learned a lot, and really appreciate the education that you guys give us, not to just sell us a product, but how to use it, how to set it up. Just the last one we did at the CO2 plant, your organization, because CO2 and ammonia, you go on at different levels and different heights and the way the beams look at each other. It is a true design installation. It is not something you just stick on the wall with a couple of screws and walk away from. And we're also using a similar type. The new plant that we're building in Kansas City, there are some new requirements out there from the building codes, because in the last couple of years there's been incidents where people have been hurt or killed either by CO2 or nitrogen. So there is a new law from the BOCA building codes that say you have to monitor. We have to monitor for CO2, and we have to monitor for oxygen depletion, because we're piping those bulk tanks into basically a confined space or a building. So not only do we have to monitor it, the new code says they have to be tied to a ventilation system. So we have to be able to exhaust or exchange the air in the room in 2 minutes. And our building's 30,000 square feet. So it is quite a system. It is not just a simple little couple $100 purchase like it used to be. So.
I love that you mentioned the difference in gas safety monitoring, because it's first just getting over that awareness. Like you mentioned, your guys are so familiar with that environment. They don't always see the hazards at hand, I feel like, when you're in it every day. So I think first it's great to see just how you have safety as a forefront in your industry, how you're aware too of the placement of these monitors, because like you mentioned, there's so many different gases and they settle at different kinds of densities. So CO2, it obviously settles more towards the ground. So you need something that's going to be able to pick it up right away as well, versus some of these other gases that you guys also are using that are very hazardous. So I know you mentioned the beginning stages, using us as a partner for just the one CO2 safety monitor, your new Kansas City location, which is incredible, and kind of being able to expand and get a more comprehensive gas safety solution that also meets some of those code requirements, which is great. So I appreciate both touch points of that, and obviously we appreciate your partnership and are glad we were able to kind of provide different solutions too to meet all of your different needs. I know just in terms of internally, could you provide any other perspective too, just externally with even some of your customers working with dry ice, and how gas safety monitors has helped them in the field, if you can?
We don't have a lot of people that are using it in confined space, but we did have one very unique situation. We had a customer who was doing cold storage in a cave,
Oh, wow.
And they actually bought pelletizers themselves. They were going through so much product. They bought a pelletizer. So the pelletizer went down in the cave. We had a bulk tank sitting at the surface and piped the liquid down. I don't have to tell anybody that's an important place to have monitoring. So that was probably the most unique situation we had. And once again, we worked with our suppliers and made sure that we were doing everything according to code. Even got into a little Mine Safety Act instead of just OSHA. So there are some unique situations out there. The most common ones for us, because we do have a bev carb side of our business, is a lot of individual states are still coming. I think probably Colorado was one of the first ones, Colorado, California, about having very defined responsibilities for CO2 monitoring at bev carb. It's got more than 3 walls, you've got to have monitoring. So all the states are kind of catching up now. So we're almost going backwards. We've done some really sophisticated installs, but now we're going back to those basic ones at your restaurants and your convenience stores. Those are probably the biggest volume installations we'll see going forward. So it is important. In our environment, our people are trained. So even if they get a little comfortable, they still know when to stop. If you have high school kids or new employees coming and going at those occupations, they don't truly understand the dangers that are there, and it's really just behind a closet where all the soda bags are stored, or the boxes are stored. So that to me is probably more important, because I feel I have some control and I'm in my factories and my production facilities fairly regularly. Those are the ones that bother me, though, is we've got 400 bev carb customers that we take care of. There's a lot more opportunities for something to go wrong there and not be noticed. So to me, that's where I would emphasize our industry really focus on those installations going forward. And you might be grandfathered legally on some of them. That's probably not one I continue to hold on to the grandfathering. I'd find a way to get those monitors in, even if they're not required.
That's so true. I know it's such a huge market, the food and bev, but to your point too, a lot of those codes are continuously changing as well. So it's meeting those requirements and making sure that the staff and the personnel in those facilities understand the severities. Like you said, whether it's the gas safety monitoring, the right SOPs, just the right education, having awareness, I think, on gas safety is still, such a thing, especially in our industry, which I think has been always so interesting to me. People that work around these gases day in and day out for years, but still I think there is a gap there that needs to continue to be filled just on the safety aspect that's so important. So I think that was incredible insight, Kevin, especially just how you guys are true advocates on safety at your own facilities. I'm excited about the new facility, and I'm glad that we can partner with you guys on just gas safety growth and kind of building that culture for you guys. So I appreciate that so much. I did want to touch base just because you guys have had so many news announcements going out there. You guys are also super integrated with some of our core industry associations like GATA. You recently acquired another new business, I think Columbia, which is great. You guys are expanding all across the board. For those that don't know a lot about CK, is there somewhere where we could direct them? Is there a specific place that we could plug in for those that just want to learn a little bit more?
Well, obviously we have a website, so cksupply.com. You're right. We next month we'll be visiting the GATA SMC. We partner with the IWDC. We work with several organizations. We go to the CO2 summits every year because we're still learning as well. So our CEO, Ned Lane, Brad Dunn, who is our next CEO, which is part of the family of ownership, have always been advocates of the organizations. Ned was a president of GATA. Brad currently is finishing a term serving as a member. Tim Evans was on, I think, a product review board. So we've always had people involved in those situations. And for us, we've benefited just as much from having Mike Dodd and Rick Schweitzer and Tom Badstubner come and help and train us. We we didn't learn these things on our own. We learned from those organizations and those individuals. And to me, you shouldn't be in this business if you're not leaning on those people, because their breadth and their depth of knowledge and experience and exposure, they tell us about things before we even experience them ourselves.
Yeah, that's huge. I think to that point too, if you're not constantly learning, something is wrong. I know I'm continuously learning every single day. So it's so important to be plugged in. And like you mentioned, you guys are so plugged in to so many of these associations in the industry. So we are super proud to just have you all as a partner. You guys are a huge presence in the gas and industrial world. So we greatly appreciate it. And then obviously for anyone that is going to the GOTA SMC, you can see CK Supply there. And I'll be sure to tag your link as well in our ebook. So thank you again so much, Kevin. I learned so much and gained so much insight from you. I really do appreciate your time again and just giving us a little insight on gas safety, dry ice applications, and how you guys integrate that at CK. So thank you.
Thank you for inviting, and as always, thank you for the partnership in our industry and with safety.
To learn more about CK Supply, be sure to visit their website at cksupply.com, connect with them online, or follow their social media channels at CK Supply.